Well, every year, folks, as many as 28,000 Australians will experience a sudden cardiac arrest outside hospital. 90% of those will not survive. One Australian who did suffer a cardiac arrest and survived was Greg Page. The former Yellow Wiggle collapsed backstage during a bushfire relief concert in 2020. Now he's launching a new campaign to get more Australians educated on how to perform CPR and use a defibrillator. Greg joins me live at the desk. Greg, so happy to see you. Good morning to you.
Thank you. Good morning, Peter.
When you see that vision there, I mean, most of us have seen it so much because you're so beloved in this country. What does it do? How do you reflect on that?
I reflect on the fact that I'm extremely lucky to be here. That's really the truth of it. And that's why I do what I do now and try to educate more people about how to respond to cardiac arrest. Because we know that the survival rate is very low, but we can change that with more people knowing how to do CPR and knowing how to use and access an AED when needed.
How are you now?
I'm really well, thanks.
Good.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine in his 40s, is the fittest bloke I know. He was boxing one day, had cardiac arrest, was saved because there was a defibrillator there.
Yeah.
How common is that kind of story?
Unfortunately, not common enough.
Yeah.
But we know that when there is a defibrillator around, it is common for the survival rate to increase. The problem is people don't know enough about where defibrillators are in the community and they're not accessible at many times of the day. So, for instance, when you're at home, your nearest AED is going to be probably at a shop or a business that's either closed or too far away. But also, who's going to get it and bring it to you while you're waiting for the paramedics to arrive? So Heart of the Nation has an app now where people can sign up to become a responder and actually get alerts of nearby cardiac arrest events. Go and get an AED from one of those businesses and take it to somebody who needs it while they stay and do CPR. It's completing what we call the chain of survival. So the solution for cardiac arrest is people in the community being able to call, push, shock. Call 000, push doing CPR and shock with an AED.
Yeah.
So signing up as a responder means you can go and deliver that AED to somebody who needs it.
Yeah, and so important to be able to use them.
Absolutely. And anyone can use an AED. You don't need to be trained. That's the beauty of it. You don't even need to be formally trained to do CPR. Any attempt is better than no attempt.
When this happened to my friend, I go to the gym regularly and I'm getting to my 40s now and, don't train as hard as I used to for that reason, but I asked, do you have a defibrillator here? And they did, and the gym did, yeah. So, I mean, should it be a requirement for all of those kinds of places to have them?
It should.
Despite the expense or whatever it is?
It's not a huge expense, right? And when it saves a life, like it did for me, like it did for your mate, that's immeasurable. That's invaluable. I got to go home to my family. He's probably got family too that he got to see.
Little kids,
absolutely. So we need that to be the norm, not the 90% that don't survive. And we can change that with momentum from the community, putting more AEDs in the community, being connected to them with an app that shows where they are and having the ability to get people to go and collect an AED and deliver it to somebody in need. So if you can sign up to the Heart of the Nation app and become a responder, you don't need any training whatsoever. Just some time is all it takes, and we'll educate you on CPR and how to use an AED as well.
Did you get a warning sign? Do people get a warning? Is there something that they need to look out for before the...
They talk about warning signs and risk factors. I didn't have the warning signs or symptoms of heart disease. So my diagnosis of heart disease was the moment I dropped dead. And that's the case for about 50% of people who have a sudden cardiac arrest. So your mate might not have had a warning sign, I don't know. No. And this is the thing. And this is why the community has to be prepared to respond.
And also, it's a difference between a heart attack and cardiac arrest, isn't
Correct. Yeah. So heart attack is a plumbing problem with the arteries in the heart. It's a blockage or a narrowing. That's a plumbing problem. Cardiac arrest begins as an electrical problem. So it's the impulses.
It's the wiring.
It's the wiring of the heart that tells the heart how to beat. So when your heart's in cardiac arrest, it's not beating because it's not being told how to beat properly. So your heart stops, and that's why you need CPR to be the manual pump, to pump the blood around the body. But because it's an electrical problem that needs to be fixed, that's the job of the AED. So without that AED, you can be doing CPR for a long time and nothing will happen.
How much time do you have?
In terms of...
once you drop, to be able to get your heart going...
Minutes matter, So, but what we do know is if you get an AED on somebody within 3 to 5 minutes, survival rates can be 67%. 67% instead of 10% overall. It's so important.
I mean, people should have them at homes as well,
Well,
if you can afford them. I know it's hard, but...
We've got a program where we get communities to fundraise together. So every house in the street puts in money, put it on the side of somebody's house. Yeah.
One more plug for the app.
Yep, download the Heart of the Nation app and sign up to become an alerter and responder, and you'll get access to our free education on CPR.
Greg, so glad to have you here. Appreciate
Peter.
it. Thank you. Some good advice.